Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 116 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And I'm your host, Brian. And Tim, I think this is the first time ever we're recording an episode the day one released.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so what we're referring to is that, most of the time, we've said this before, we record on Monday nights, which gives Tim some few days to edit for our Friday release. But as we mentioned, we were releasing our last episode about the horror documentary In Search of Darkness. We were releasing it on a rare Monday, not to steal some of Kim and Ket's Morbid Monday traffic, but only because we were asked, because there was an embargo, press embargo, basically, on that movie in discussing it, because it was premiering at Beyond Fest. But once Monday hit, we were allowed to talk about it, and we released the episode for you guys. If you haven't heard it yet, go back and listen to it. It's a great interview. Great talk and discussion we have about just David's career, the doc, and then our feelings on the doc. And yeah, it was just one of my favorite episodes that we've done to date. And you'll see we tweeted a lot too about the doc, and it's getting a lot of excitement and a lot of buzz.
Yeah, and and October's heating up. Brian, of course, this episode we're going to talk about our haunt experiences. So we've both been to some Halloween events at theme parks. And I started decorating my yard tonight, actually.
Oh, and I got to see it firsthand for the first time.
Yeah, it's a little late this year. I usually have it October 1st. I've usually got it all decked out. So I'm working on it slowly over the course of this week. By the time you come down, it will be completely finished. But I did a big spider theme this year. I've got a giant purple lit spider web, a giant inflatable spider. I've got a cocooned corpse hanging from the tree with a spider gnawing on him. So it's going to be really, really cool. I got to go get some more lights, though. I'm going to really light the yard up this week.
Yes,
so.
I want it to perfection when I get there, by the way.
Yeah, I will make sure. If the rain holds off.
Yeah, I should do a full walkthrough, and we'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we could do that. That would be fun. Yeah, so let's get right into it, guys. This is our first chop. Okay, Brian, so my 40 Years of Terror project continues, and now I get to kind of use these for my horror movie challenge.
Double dipping.
Kind of double dipping, killing two birds with one stone. And I needed one for my Tales from the Cryptid challenge, which is watch a movie with a cryptozoological creature. And of course I went to Bigfoot because there's so many Bigfoot movies out there. And this time I went with one of the best I had not seen yet, which is called Abominable from 2006.
Yes, that is on my list, by the way. Spoiler alert for my upcoming cryptid challenge.
Yeah, you see this one on a lot of top Bigfoot movie lists, and it's basically a Rear Window with Sasquatch, essentially, because you have Matt McCoy playing a paraplegic who is staying out in the woods in this cabin, and from his window and his wheelchair, he is seeing Bigfoot attacking another cabin full of women. So it's kind of this funny play on Rear Window, and it's a monster movie. It's just a fun monster movie. It's not supposed to be creepy. It's not supposed to be like realistic. It's just a straight up Bigfoot as a monster attacking and killing people. It has some great kills in it, and it's a lot of fun.
And it stars one of our con buddies, Tiffany Shepis.
That's right. But all I could think of when I was watching it was Lloyd Braun from Seinfeld. And I kept expecting him to pull out a pack of gum. So,
or he was gonna ring the bell. The one where he comes in after he's been after he kind of got out from his little stay at the mental ward. I guess he teamed up with Frank Costanza to sell computers.
Yeah. So I just couldn't shake it.
Oh my god! Yeah, no, totally. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you recognize Matt McCoy now. The poor guy who's been in he's got a decent amount of credits out there.
He does,
but no, now he is reduced to Lloyd Braun. And he actually did not play the original Lloyd Braun. If you remember that, no, there was another Lloyd Braun, an actor that played the original Lloyd Braun. When in the episode with the frozen yogurt, when Elaine was dating Lloyd Braun, he was remember he was like Mayor Dinkins' analyst, and he had kept advising him on everything. It wasn't until Lloyd Braun came out of the I guess the mental institution sequence in that first episode with the movie theater and everything when Matt McCoy took over. So actually he was not the only Braun, but only Lloyd Braun, but to us he's the Lloyd Braun.
Yeah.
And that's a useless fact that has of course a great place on a horror movie podcast.
But anyway, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's B-movie fun, and it definitely benefits from having Matt McCoy in it.
Yes, I agree. I didn't see it yet, but I just agree because Matt McCoy is awesome.
All right, and we have some horror movie challenge updates. So, Brian, I know you've been really plugging away at this. I have as well, and I'm starting to knock out. I talked about last week where I did that self-imposed challenge of only doing 2 achievements per movie. But I've still knocked out quite a bit of these objectives so far. I think I've watched, at this point, 9 films. So I'm just slightly ahead of the day and date for October.
Yeah, actually, I kind of buffered a little bit, but I had the advantage. Tim went away this weekend, which we'll get to in our recap. I was home, so I managed to knock off, I think, about 4 or 5 films over the weekend. And I'm trying to get through at least 1 a day still, because I watch a little bit at work. Sometimes I'll finish it at home. Sometimes I'll start it at night, watch it, get up in the morning a little bit and watch it. And I have to say, I've been pretty good this year with avoiding the duds. Have found, there was probably that movie Trance was the only really dud I think in the batch that I was really like struggling to get through to watch. And I don't know how they got that cast, because that cast is not filled with people you've never heard of. And it's got Dominique Swain, Madeline Zima, which hence my Twin Peaks damn fine cup of coffee objective. It had Jeremy London in it. It had another girl that I recognized in there too. So I'm surprised that it was just a weird, really studenty film type of movie, which is not bad, but I don't know why. It's just the it's one of those things where the poster art completely misguides you to what you're getting in the movie. I think that was it. But I saw some other ones that I liked. It wasn't until I was looking through and I said, you know what? I've never actually watched the Fog remake from 2005. Now, granted, I knew going into it that there is no way on earth this was going to live up to the original. But if I take the original out of the equation, which I try to, it's hard because there's so many exact scene recreations in this. But it also had enough differences to it that I could try and just forget that I saw the original and if there was an original and watch this movie. And I gotta say, if there wasn't an original, this movie wouldn't have been that. I don't think anyone would have had as much of a problem with it. I know it did not get a lot of positives over the years of it, but I actually didn't not like it. It was, I actually found myself enjoying some of it. I think, because it has a cast of people I like in it. Tom Welling was in it. He's really good. Selma Blair, Maggie Grace, they'd had a good cast, I think. And that kind of helped. Of course it did not have Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis, and Adrienne Barbeau, which is a big step down, I guess, with the newer cast. But something like that. And that was a good thing, because I think that got me, of all things, it got me the actual, the Close Encounters of the Fae kind and the Sack It To Me Kurt Russell credit in one movie.
Nice.
Which was pretty, I did not think was possible to get 2 of those obscure objectives into one. But I saw some classic movies I've always wanted to see, like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, which I ended up loving, and Tombs of the Blind Dead, which I've always heard of
that's a good
and never
one, yeah.
got to see. Yeah. So that's what I think I love most about our horror challenge, is you get to see some movies that you just haven't got around to seeing, and now's the time, because you're obviously trying to see movies you have not seen.
Yeah, I had a couple that kind of stood out. I've been tweeting my little impressions on Twitter and stuff, if you guys are following on Facebook. But one of them was Chud 2, Bud the Chud, from 1989, which I had never seen. And, I saw the original Chud, of course. This one has nothing to do with the original movie whatsoever. But it's definitely a horror comedy about a zombie named Bud, who is, I guess he's a Chud as well. And
I don't think I realized that. Maybe I thought I saw this one. Maybe I never did. I just saw the original.
But he basically stumbles into suburban America, and it's kind of his adventures as the military is trying to track him down, and some people find out about him and go through a series of adventures. It almost plays out like a college, like a college slice of life movie with a zombie. But it's got some really laugh out loud dialogue in it, and I actually really, really enjoyed this one. Like I said, it has nothing to do with the original Chud. They just went completely off the wall, but maybe that's kind of why I liked it. It's just so crazy. And then the other one that just blew my mind was Ganja and Hess from 1973.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Wow, this is a benchmark film, and if you guys watch the horror noir documentary, they talked about this movie. It was a benchmark film in African-American horror cinema. And it was a low-budget vampire movie. And it stars the guy that was in Night of the Living Dead. One of the few movies he did besides Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a Dr. Hess who is stabbed by this ancient ritual knife on an archaeological expedition. And that turns him into this vampire. But not a vampire in the traditional sense. And that's what I liked about the movie. He's kind of a vampire that basically has to kill his victims and then drink their blood. But that might mean shooting them. So it's kind of a weird take on the vampire myth. And it's such a creepy, creepy movie because of that low budget 70s feel. It kind of has that same off-putting tone of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Where like
nice.
it's almost like the fact that it was low budget in the 70s is what makes it scary. And then the other thing is the performances are just bizarrely good. Like there's sequences in here where it doesn't seem like the people are even acting. It just seems like you're watching real people being filmed. And it's very, very strange. And the thing I think that really seals the deal with this movie is the soundtrack. Every time Dr. Hess starts doing something vampiric, there's this weird chant music of like these kids chanting, and it's very eerie. And then there's like parts of the soundtrack will be like animal noises, and parts of the soundtrack will be like just a man moaning and screaming, and it's very unsettling. And I don't know how to describe it, but you guys got to go see this movie. It's very they even Wikipedia says it's an experimental film, and it does feel like that at times. Very, very strange movie, very slow paced, but also it just kind of gets under your skin. So I'd highly recommend it. It's very, very unique movie. Ganja and Hess, 1973.
Yeah, that's one of the ones after the horror noir one. Always like I kind of want to see. So it's like
yeah, it's on Shudder, so you guys have no excuse.
No excuse. Oh, and another one real quick that I actually really liked was the Retro Puppet Master, which I know you had said you liked when you saw it.
Yeah, I did like that.
That was actually pretty enjoyable. You know what I liked about it? This is like a weird little like niche in movies that I like. In this case, it was Paris, when they have this I guess location, and there's this really cool little like theater type place, either a movie theater or a stage theater type of theater. And it looks like it's an unusual thing. And for some reason, I like that when it's portrayed in movies in a certain way. And this had it with that, theater magique or whatever he had, that location. It just looked really cool. Like, I'm like, that'd be a cool place to go and discover. And, when the main character, the main female character, actually, when she says like, "Oh, there's so much magic in Paris, I want to go find it," and then she stumbles upon this theater, and I'm just like, that kind of seems like a thing you would stumble upon in Paris, and I don't know why it seems so weird, but that's what struck me about. So it really like caught me into this movie. I mean, sure, there's so many like cheesy sequences, like those 3 mummies that I don't understand why they're mummies, and yet they have to take the train back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're supernatural people.
It was very weird.
Yeah, and they even make a comment about it, like, well, they can't fly, they have to take a train. I'm like, why is that the only two choices? I don't understand. But it's still something about it was just really enjoyable, and I love the old school type of puppets, and they're like just chilling out, and I don't know, it's just something was so really surprising how much I like that. And I haven't seen many Puppet Master films. I mean, I may have seen like 1 and 2 or something like that. So this was pretty cool that I got to, and the fact that it was, I mean, how many franchises really, I mean, have, to get that double-digit credit and to get, like, the 7th film in a series? I mean, the ones I was thinking of, I've seen all of, so I was glad there's a series that I hadn't seen a lot of.
I'm still struggling with that one. I think I'm going to have to do Children of the Corn. Because that's one of the few franchise with that many movies that I haven't seen, the 7th film. Yeah.
I mean, now, do you have you're going to be, well, the double-digit one, you could just watch A Puppet Master, remember? You don't need to double it up like I did. It was there for me to double up, to get 2 objectives. But yeah, you can. I'm sure you have not seen all the Puppet Masters, so you could just see any one of those that you haven't seen. And then I guess if you use the Children of the Corn, because I believe there's 9 Children of the Corn, including the remake, right? If not more.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. All right, next up, the Trick or Treat Picture Show. This sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. This is so cool. So this almost is like picture of like Grindhouse, but it was like a Halloween movie. So I'll read to you this description, and this is cool. So it's the Trick or Treat Picture Show. It's a VHS homage to slasher films, drive-in movie culture, and Halloween public service announcements in picture show format. And so it says it's an old VHS recording of a 1980s-inspired horror anthology. Director Tony Ashmore presents a 35mm Halloween treat. Includes 2 slasher films, 2 paranormal documentaries, a series of vintage drive-in advertisements, original analog synthwave, Halloween party recipes, and Grindhouse trailers. A nostalgic, low-resolution Halloween experience for children of the 80s. Perfect for parties. And I saw the trailer for this. This looks so cool. I think I'm going to get it. It's only, I think to buy it, it's $3.99. You can download it and stream on Vimeo on demand. Or you can just rent it for $2.99. But I mean, for an extra $1, you might as well just buy it.
Yeah.
And I think next week, or possibly by the time you're listening to this episode, it should be available on Amazon Prime as well. But yeah, keep an eye out for this because this looks really, really cool, and it sounds like fun. And it's not that long. I mean, I know it had a lot in there, but I think it runs under 2 hours. So
that sounds cool.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like something fun you just pop on one night and just...
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Oh
my God, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to grab that. Next up, Cold Stone Creamery Halloween Fun, turning cake batter ice cream into boo batter and coloring it black for October only. Brian, I got to see this firsthand. I actually did not try this, but Ken and I, when we were up in Virginia, we went to Cold Stone, and the boo batter was very popular.
Really?
Because it was like scraped to the bottom of the thing. Like people were getting that big time, and it's pure black, so it's pretty cool looking. And then they got all kinds of the little, Cold Stone has their combos they put into it. They got all these boo batter recipes and stuff that you can get, and it's pretty neat though.
Is there a Cold Stone in Wilmington? Maybe we'll have to, for the podcast, have to go over there and
oh
sample.
yeah, there's definitely a Cold Stone here, so we'll do it.
I think we need to do it for our listeners.
Yeah. This one I'm very excited about. Stephen King's new book, If It Bleeds, coming out in 2020 and contains 4 brand new novellas. And I love Stephen King's short fiction and definitely his novellas, so this one's always exciting when he comes out with a new collection of short fiction.
Yes. Agreed.
I still got to catch up, though. I used to be very good about reading every single King book as it was released, but I've gotten a little bit behind. Right now I'm about halfway through The Institute, which is his most recent, but there's a couple that I did not read yet, although I own them. One was Sleeping Beauties, which was that collaboration he did with Owen King. And there is End of Watch, which is his last book in the Bill Hodges trilogy, which I cannot believe I haven't read yet, but so be it. I've just slipped through. I will get to them eventually.
It might be you're doing a horror podcast. You're watching 31 movies in 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
You got your brother's wedding. I don't know why you could not have. Why are you having trouble finding the time?
I know, really. Creepshow episode 2. I just watched this today. Actually, finally got around to it and really enjoyed it. Now, I will say, Brian, and this is not a criticism, but after seeing 2 full episodes now, I don't necessarily feel that they captured the tone of the Creepshow movies per se, but it's still a very enjoyable horror anthology. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think the first episode captured more of the movies than the second one did, but I feel like it captured the comic more, the second one. Like, I felt like it seemed like I totally the way it, like, especially the first segment in episode 2 totally felt like something out of the
From a
comic.
comic
Like,
book. Yeah,
oh
I
my
agree.
God, like exactly the way it ended, the way it is. The second one definitely felt more like it actually felt a little bit more like Tales from the Cryptish to me. Was the second one. I mean, and first of all, I think DJ Qualls, oh my God, did he do an amazing job in that episode, though. He was awesome. And I love the second segment too. I see what you mean. Like, the second one definitely had its own, and you're right, it's not a knock, because all 4 segments so far have been great. There hasn't been a dud in the bunch, and they're all enjoyable, and the series as a whole is absolutely fantastic. This is what we've been waiting for. I mean, I think Shudder knocked it out of the park with it. I can't wait to see the next one. So but I see what you mean. It's like, it's funny. I feel like the first episode, 2 segments definitely captured the movie feel. This one, I think it captured a little bit more of the comic. But overall, as a whole, it's just a great show. And it doesn't matter necessarily if you capture every little thing. It's doing its job. It's giving you some amazing anthology segments.
Yeah, I only said that because I started seeing some criticism online that this doesn't feel like the Creepshow movie. And I was thinking, yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, I don't necessarily see it as a criticism because it's such a great horror anthology on its own. And it does enough to evoke the feel of, like, the comic and stuff that I think it's perfectly serviceable and very enjoyable as a horror anthology. I don't think you necessarily have to make it just like the movie. And I don't know how you would even do that really anyway without trying to make it some kind of retro 80s thing, because that's what Creepshow was. So I kind of applaud that so to me, it's like a refreshing reboot of the idea, not necessarily trying to emulate exactly what the movie was, which is going to be almost impossible to do anyway.
Right, and plus, the movie, you have the wraparound like segments that go into a whole, and you see all 5 or 6 segments at once. This is they're giving you 2 segments, and there's a week in between, so you have so it's like it's automatically just organically going to feel different because of that. Yeah. I think, but I
don't know how you would. How are you supposed to evoke the feel of a movie that's an anthology, which is different stories? And now these are different stories. I mean, there's no tying connective tissue there that you can really do that like you would with, like, a normal movie. So
I mean, I think the first one did it just because of the first episode just did it because I think we've been waiting so long, and they brought back, and it started with a bang, and it had just those. And I think Adrienne Barbeau maybe helped a little bit. She was in it, And
it was also very similar to the Jordy Verrill segment.
Right, right. It was a more familiar segment. Yes, I think that's part of it too. I mean, like I said, I mean, we've probably already spent more time defending this than we need to because it doesn't need defending.
That's right.
It's great. I think this is just you and me, like, trying to, because I mean, it's more of an excitement factor. We both love Creepshow, and we loved these so far, all 4 segments. So
yeah. Laura Cohen is returning to season 11 of The Walking Dead, which is kind of cool. We had heard, I think I had heard rumors that she may come back at some point. And
I like her. She was good in The Boy.
Yeah, she was very good.
And, I don't watch The Walking Dead, so I assume she didn't die. I guess she just left the show based on this, right?
I'm 2 seasons behind, so I couldn't tell you what happened to her because she hasn't left yet in my season.
Oh, okay. Oh, so she's only missed a couple. For some reason, I thought she left years ago. Okay.
No. She was in season 9 because that's the one I'm watching right now.
Okay. And Cohen saw her in person once. He bumped into her in New York City once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a little Cohen trivia there.
And then big exciting news, and I heard somebody criticizing Shudder the other day because they thought there would be more Joe Bob in October than there was. Well, they just jumped the gun a little bit because Joe Bob is returning for Joe Bob's Halloween Hootenanny A triple feature on October 25th at 9 p.m.
Right, and we kind of, because we get those Shudder, those like email things a little early sometimes. Remember, we had a thing where it said they basically teased that something was coming that weekend. And of course, Tim and I, discussed it amongst ourselves. We're like, okay, it's obviously going to be a Joe Bob special.
Yeah.
What else is going to be that special that they're trying to keep it under wraps until then, they said. And already Darcy the Mail Girl is out there tweeting that she wants Halloween 3 to be one of the movies. She's got a whole promotion going.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah, and I think they need to get Tom Atkins there. And I think what they should do is get and it's, of course, Darcy the Mail Girl needs to cosplay as the Ellie character.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Next up, Ultimate Friday Part 5, Roy Burns coming to NECA action figure form.
Yeah, well, it's out now. It's out. Cone saw it. I just ordered it on Amazon because I wanted to get that's probably, unfortunately, going to be the last Friday the 13th NECA figure for some time, which is very sad because I love my series. I have them all except for the purple Jason, which is fine. I'll eventually get it. I'll pay probably twice the amount value because I was lazy on it even when it was re-released. But that's one I wouldn't display the same way I display all the other Jasons that I have out. I have them out of the box. Cone, actually, when I met up with Cone over the weekend, I got my Freddy vs. Jason one that he had picked up for me. And the Roy Burns one to me is the last one I need. Although I noticed there's a Pamela Voorhees corpse figure coming out. But I think that, I don't know if that's I don't know how that's snuck under the whole license agreement. I think unless they're just calling it the corpse, but everyone knows it's Pamela Voorhees. I'm not sure how that's working, but it's basically what she appeared as in Friday the 13th Part 3. So that is coming out. But other than that, I think this is going to be the final Jason we see for a while. I mean, really, other than that, we just need Part 1 Jason and Part 7 Jason. There's really all the other ones are out. But still, it's just sad. I would and supposedly they had a big anniversary set would include light up functions of some sort. I don't know what that was going to be, but it was probably going to be a really cool box set they were going to release for the anniversary. But now, thanks to this lawsuit, we're not going to see that. So it's very sad. As the fans are the ones that lose out in these things.
Yeah, yeah. And then finally, Brian, tell us what Cone has in store in terms of prize pack.
So he got some cool things. He got limited edition, and he's got enough so you could have one. You can give one to your brother. And we have possibly. I think we have 2 for the prize packs because I'm not big into the Walking Dead, as you know, and not that I won't ever like it. Just when I finally sit down to watch it, just I haven't really watched it, so no point. So we have 4 limited edition posters. So we'll probably be able to give away probably 2 of them, or at least one of them. And it was a really cool Walking Dead poster. It's really nice, hard copy paper.
Oh, cool.
Hard copy poster paper. Yeah, so I'll be bringing that to you so you can have that and put that together with the rest of the prize pack. We'll also have, and I was tempted to kind of keep this one for myself, but I realized, when the hell am I ever going to wear these things? So we have a pair of Shudder socks to give away.
Oh, cool.
Cone got official Shudder socks that we're going to give away. And he also has a map of map of Castle Rock. That's a foldable map that I guess they were giving out. So he has that to give out. He does have a Creepshow poster, I think, but he didn't have it with him that day. So I think he'll have to get me that. So that'll eventually come later. So he's got a couple of good pricings. He's got your gift for you, I guess, that thing you ordered from him.
Yeah,
he's got that too.
I've got some stuff for him too. Yeah, and I've already decided, Brian, whoever gets. We talked about, whoever gets the highest score in the horror movie challenge. Well, most people that are really serious about it are probably going to get the max score. So yes. I've already decided everybody that does get the max score, I'm going to send them something.
That's a good idea.
So I'm going to try to give everybody some kind of prize. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out when all the results are in. But
and to whet everyone's appetite to increase this challenge, I happen to find a sealed box of Paul Blart 2 Blu-rays.
Oh,
that somehow
nice.
I found out on the side of the road. I believe it was in front of Kevin James's house. I'm not sure, but no, I'm only kidding. I did find a box of it, so we're gonna give all those. No, I'm only kidding. Of course,
I do
you're not
know
getting
where I
Paul
can
Blart
get.
2.
I do know where I can get Paul Blart 2, though.
My
found-
shelf.
No, I found it. I found a particular store.
Really?
I'm not giving the location because I don't want it to go missing. Particular store, and it is on their clearance DVD aisle, and I almost bought it. I came very close.
just to buy the Paul Blart.
Just for the prize pack.
Yeah. No, we'll do that. And actually, by the way, we should let everyone know. Should we let them know what the total score is, or should we let them figure that out themselves by doing the math?
I mean, we can say it because it's you guys can count, but the max score for this challenge is 1,000, and if that doesn't jibe with what you've added up, you may want to take a very closer look at those objectives.
Yes,
that's
look
all I'll
at
say.
the objectives, and I've given some. I gave a cryptic clue out to some people there because a lot of people have been retweeting and talking about the challenge. I gave a clue out there.
Yeah.
To get that number, so hopefully you see. We were probably trying to be a little tricky, but it's a challenge, is it not?
That's right. And remember, you have to complete every objective.
Yes, every objective.
All right, well, let's get right into our massive October Discmemberment. These are the Blu-ray releases for what, Brian? October 15th, so middle of the month. This is when the horror titles really start flooding in, so let's get right to it, our Discmemberment.
Wait, no, please, God, no, don't cut off,
All right, so of course we'll mention a couple of the reissues. Universal put out a reissue of Mama from 2013, and not to be confused with Ma. And
just the way you said it, you're like, Mama.
And The Visit from 2015, which is also a great one.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
And then we got a slew of stuff. And it's interesting this week, Brian, because it was not a lot of titles from each individual publisher, but there was just a lot of publishers putting out one title. So we've got a ton of different release publishers here, and a lot of really good discs. Our pick of the week is pretty astounding, I must say. So Let's get right to them. The first one up from Lionsgate, 3 from Hell.
And we will be doing that movie in a very, we were planning a special episode coming up. I'll just say it involves that movie. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, so this one has to come out. We can't have this one delayed.
Yes, this cannot be delayed. Listen, who's doing this? Lionsgate? Don't mess us up here.
Yeah, it's coming out in a regular and a 4K version. The special features has an audio commentary by Rob Zombie and a 95-minute making of documentary called To Hell and Back, which sounds pretty cool. Unless it's just the Kane Hodder story. Maybe they just threw that on the disc for.
I know, right? They just threw. they pulled a Universal Abbott and Costello deal.
Yeah, it also has the trailer, so looking forward to that one because I need to see that movie.
Yes, that is. We need to complete the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy.
Yeah. Next up is Paramount, who is doing one of the movies I really, really wanted to see in the theater, actually, because it looked interesting. That was Crawl.
Yeah, Cone saw this. He said he liked it.
Yeah, this is the one where, very interesting premise. A young woman, while attempting to save her father during a Category 5 hurricane, finds herself trapped in a flooding house and must fight for her life against alligators. It sounds silly, but it also looked pretty cool from the trailer.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's not that far-fetched in terms of if you get a flood in
Florida.
I guess it's, I assume Florida. There are gators on the golf course. My stepdad says he sees alligators and crocodiles, alligators. What's the difference? I don't know. Whatever it is, they see that They see it on the golf course sometimes. They tell you to be careful. Don't go in.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere down there. My aunt used to live down in Florida.
Yeah, so, I mean, is it that far-fetched that if a big flood of water comes in and displaces lakes and things, that an alligator could end up in your house? I don't think it's that far-fetched. I don't know.
This one has some pretty good special features. It's got an alternate opening with an introduction, something about alligator attacks, a Beneath Crawl featurette, which is nearly a half hour.
Yeah.
Category 5 Gators, the VFX of Crawl featurette, and deleted and extended scenes. So pretty good disc for a recent release. And next up, this is also from Paramount. This one I'm really pretty interested in, Brian. The Haunting of Hill House Extended Director's Cut. This is, of course, the Netflix series that was created by Mike Flanagan. and that came out last year that Brian and I both really, really enjoyed. But this is a extended director's cut where they're going to have director's cuts of certain episodes that extend it, and will have commentary by Mike Flanagan. So in this particular set, there was 10 episodes in the original series. Episodes 1, 5, and 10 all have a director's cut edition in the box set. And then episode 6 has a commentary by Mike Flanagan. All the other ones I previously mentioned that have a director's cut also have a commentary. So if you want some more of that series, I don't know if I'd really want to rewatch the whole thing, but I might want to watch these director's cut versions of the particular episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a new debate that that probably is out there, and this probably maybe should have been like an interactive question at some down the line, but we'll maybe make it an unofficial one though. When you have a streaming service's original series, do you buy it part of your collection when it never really comes off the streaming series anytime soon? So it's weird, but in this case, they seem to have added a lot of stuff that you can get from Netflix.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I can understand why they would do it, because they probably think, why would anybody buy the Blu-ray?
Well, not everyone has Netflix. I mean, shudder to think of it, no pun intended there. But like most people have Netflix.
But if you want them to double dip, you need to offer something that they can't get from the streaming service. So that's a great way to do it.
Right, and I assume Netflix is still going to get some royalties out of this because it's they own the series.
Right.
And so, I mean, you figure to them it's like, hey, we're getting one more way to get this into the market. You people who didn't want to buy Netflix, well, haha, now you're going to buy the disc.
Yeah. Next up from Warner Archive, which is always releasing these kind of unique titles from back in the day. This one is The Fearless Vampire Killers from 1967, directed by Roman Polanski, starring Jack McGowan, Roman Polanski, and Alfie Bass. A noted professor and his dim-witted apprentice fall prey to their inquiring vampires while on the trail of the ominous damsel in distress. I saw this way back in the day, and I'm familiar with this movie, yeah. This one has a brand new remaster of the film, which includes a longer 107-minute version, a vintage making-of featurette, an alternate animated title sequence, and a theatrical trailer. So yes, and I know this movie is really weird.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I'm like, what is this? I really expected Leslie Nielsen to make an appearance in there and like do something silly, because like it was just like all these weird things. And it said like, it actually had a line that said, "The Fearless Vampire Killers," or "Pardon me, but my teeth are in your neck." Like it's like this old school like humor that's involved in it. But it actually made it. I'm like, and it's all like slapstick, like music going on. It's a really
it's very campy
odd trailer. I think I might have to see it now though.
Yeah, it's very campy, and it's definitely way more comedy than horror. But it's kind of it's a little bit of a classic. So I need to see it again, because I don't honestly remember much about it. But I do remember it was really, really campy, which is kind of its charm, I guess.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Now, this next one I really want to see. Criterion is putting out an edition of Haxan from 1922. We're talking old school there, guys.
Oh my
Silent
god, yeah.
movie
And
era.
I like the trailer for it is very weird. The trailer has music to it. They've added, but it seems like more modern music, because it actually seems like it was from another horror movie that they threw in there. But
it was some classical music. This is a fictionalized documentary showing the evolution of witchcraft from its pagan roots to its confusion with hysteria in modern Europe.
it's ahead of its time. Fictional documentary from 1922.
It's the trailer, I must say, some of the effects for 1922 are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
It's really kind of interesting. It has a new 2K restoration, music from the original Danish premiere, arranged by film music specialist Gillian Anderson.
Well, there's a new role.
Yeah.
In our ever expanding roles of people.
That's performed by the Czech Film Orchestra. Audio commentary from 2001 featuring film scholar Casper Tibjerg. I don't know.
So he right now he's just learning to be a film historian because he's just a scholar.
He's just a scholar, yeah.
Yeah.
Witchcraft Through the Ages, 1968, the 76-minute version of Haxan, narrated by author William S. Burroughs, with a soundtrack featuring violinist Jean-Luc Ponty.
I misread that. I thought it said Jean-Luc Potty.
I almost thought it said Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh,
that would be interesting.
That would be cool. Can you imagine that? Engage. That would be great if he was like commenting. That would just be a whole segment in itself. Just imagine taking any movie but having the commentary done by Jean-Luc Picard.
I would buy that. I like that idea.
Number 2, please. That would be great.
Director Benjamin Christensen's introduction to the 1941 re-release, short selection of outtakes, Bibliothèque Diabolique, a photographic. See, that messed me up. A photographic. A photographic exploration of Christensen's historical sources.
But isn't bibliothèque library?
Yes. But that sounds cool.
Diabolical library?
Yeah, diabolical library. An essay by critic Chris Fujiwara, remarks on the score by Anderson, and Blu-ray only, an essay by scholar Chloe Germain Buckley.
Is it another scholar?
And then I almost read your comments as another feature, which I'm glad I did not.
Well, yeah, but first, before I read my comments, I want to say, so this is the essay so is this like her final exam that she's just like sharing with us on this disc?
I guess
it's an essay, but yeah. So when I saw this trailer, I was like, first I thought I said like, okay, this is either an experimental film, or if I somehow stumbled onto the tape from The Ring.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just really weird imageries and stuff going on, and I think that at one point they all take turns to this guy who's dressed like a monkey, and they're kissing his butt, literally.
Yeah.
But it's like now it's like based on all the stuff you were saying about it, I might need to see this now just because it seems like really ahead of its time at some level.
It does. I mean, some of the, like when I say special effects, like it has like creatures and demons and all kinds of like big puppets and stuff. It's really kind of cool.
And just remember, you buy it, and 7 days later you die. But yeah, I think. But I actually kind of want to. It actually makes me want to buy this disc now.
Well, it's been nice doing the podcast with you, Brian.
Yeah. Well, maybe I shouldn't buy it. Well, no, I can't even rent it. I watched the trailer. I don't know if that's enough. That could finish me off. Well, I guess you'll see if I show up.
You'll probably just break a leg or something.
Yeah. Well, that's with the way I walk anyway. That's probably a good chance of that at any moment.
All right. So the next one up is from a company called AGFA.
Is that a new one?
Yeah, it's a new one. AGFA. I don't know who they are, but they're releasing Scary Movie now. Not to be confused with the comedy.
I know. I was like, Tim, did you really put this on with all these special features when I first saw that? But then I looked at the year. So.
Yeah, 1991 Scary Movie, directed by Daniel Erickson, starring John Hawkes, Suzanne Aldrich, and Ev Lunning. A paranoid young man gradually comes to believe that an escaped lunatic may be hiding in the neighborhood Halloween House of Horrors. It says a new 2K remaster and audio commentary by director Daniel Erickson and Joseph Zimba of AGFA. 2 short films by Daniel Erickson, Mr. Pumpkin and Little Hero. A vintage theatrical teaser trailer, stills gallery with behind-the-scenes material and reversible cover art. And this is this thing looks super low budget. And I don't know, the trailer was very, very strange.
I didn't even think it was a real movie at first. I thought I stumbled onto like something wrong, but then it showed that it was. By the way, so here's I think AGFA is American Genre Film Archive.
Okay, cool. They're probably saving like these little movies that nobody remembers, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. I would assume that's what this is because I Googled it while we were looking. Yep, no, it is because listed on their site, it's Scary Movie is there with some really pretty cool artwork actually for this movie. It's like a skeleton. It kind of looks like that one puppet from Puppet Master with a guy that looks scared. Yeah, so that's what that is. So it's American Genre Film Archive. So actually, I kind of dig those kind of things. It's kind of neat that there's a home for everything apparently.
Yeah, and somebody out there loves this movie. You know, it's one of their favorite movie, and they're like really excited it's out on Blu-ray finally. So I love those little niche films.
I think one being the key word. Someone.
Yes, that's right. Next up from our friends at Kino Lorber, and Soon the Darkness, which I did not know was remade in 2010 until I started looking for the trailer.
Exactly. And I looked at it, I said, wait a minute, is that Amber Heard?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But this is 1970. This looks really, really good for 1970. And then I paid attention.
This is directed by Robert Fuest. I don't know.
Fwest.
Fwest.
It's like, well, no, that reminds me of the, remember, what was that, the marriage.
Marriage.
Yeah, that's what
It's
that
what
reminds me.
brings us together
Yeah,
today.
that's exactly, didn't you think of that right when you said that?
Love, true love. Okay, so
Tim and I don't go on tangents at all. Okay.
enough Princess Bride quoting.
Yes.
I could literally fill the rest of the podcast with Princess Bride quotes.
Yeah, I know. And we can't do that because we know where the planes and automobiles take us. But Tim, have fun storming the dismemberment. Okay. Good.
Say man and wife. Man and wife. Two young English women go on a cycling tour of the French countryside. When one of them goes missing, the other begins to search for her. But who can she trust? Brand new 4K remaster of the film, audio commentary with director Robert Fwest and co-writer and co-producer Brian Clemens, moderated by journalist Jonathan Southcott. Audio commentary by film historian Troy Howarth, who we've seen before.
I like that name though, Jonathan Southcott.
Yeah.
That's like a man that probably when he goes into like a restaurant, he's like, do you happen to have moutarde? You know, he's like someone that won't say mustard.
That's right, yeah.
So,
He definitely says tomato. I know that.
yes, tomato and moutarde, and you know.
Troy Howarth, I enjoy his name as well. He sounds like a sports announcer, but he's actually a film historian.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, Troy Howarth. Yeah, as we go.
Yeah. Lions down 7 at the half, and
Yeah.
radio spot, reverse art, and theatrical trailer.
There's that reverse art sneaking in once again.
Yeah, this was kind of a weird. This trailer definitely needed some editing because it was way too slow. But I did like the
Oh my
creepy
God.
voiceover of the whispering.
Yeah, for
thing.
like the last 3 minutes of the trailer is her whispering, like, and she kept saying, "A lovely bike ride in the French countryside," but then it started with them kept saying, like, "Take Pamela Franklin, take Mattel Dutcher, take." I'm like, keep taking this. You're taking my time right now. I mean, get to the point of this trailer. This was a doozy. This one, you know, Paul had suggested we play an audio clip of a trailer. This has got to be the one I think you pick for this episode. Because
Oh
a lot
my
of the other
God.
ones have music, but this one has so much constant audio and dialogue in this trailer that I think you need to play at least a big snippet of this. All 3 minutes I don't recommend, but at least play enough of this so everyone can get the idea of what we've just sat through.
And then, like, I think for the rest of the episode, I should have that girl just coming in going, "A pleasant bike ride in the French countryside."
Yeah, like you
Right,
need
random
to, like,
spots. Like,
I think you need to have that audio clip, and we just need to play it throughout, like, the podcast all the time, and we'll have a contest. Like, when you find the exact minute that gets snuck in there, you win Paul Blart, too.
next up from Cleopatra, Devil's Revenge.
It's by Cohn.
Yeah, it's by one of Cohn's relatives, Jared Cohn, from 2019.
And it's spelled the same way.
Yeah. Starring Apollo Bacala, Jason Brooks, and Jackie Dallas. And for some reason, they did not put the main star, which is William Shatner.
Okay, you know what? Because I almost watched the trailer and I saw William Shatner in the list and I said, oh wait, this isn't the same movie. And then I noticed that it was my guess anyway, so I didn't watch any of the trailers. I really don't know other than I saw William Shatner in it.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to make this your pick your guess, because William Shatner, I figured you'd have some kind of good plot line for that, right?
I don't know. Well, when I see Apollo, all I could think of is, yo, Apollo. But I know that Sylvester Stallone's not in it. But
And then when I see Bacala, I think of Scott Bakula. So it's just like...
And I was on actually a softball team. We were called the Bacalas. So, but let's see. The Devil's Revenge. Let's see. I think it might have to be a simple movie about a devil and his revenge. But no, let's see. Let's see. Devil's Revenge. Okay. Well, it's from 2019, which is very telling since it's in this year. So I don't think it could be too artistic. It's got to be somewhat literal, is where I have to go with this. But it's William Shatner. You know what? I want to say he's the devil in this. He is literally Satan in this. And I guess one of these other three people in this movie break an agreement with him and he gets his revenge. And I think his revenge is him providing these three people with his CD of spoken poetry.
All right. Well, that's a good guess.
Okay.
Here's the actual movie.
Okay.
John Brock is a down-on-his-luck archaeologist who returns from an expedition to the caves of rural Kentucky, which, by the way, is when you know you're a down-on-your-luck archiologist.
If you're in Kentucky and not like Sri Lanka, I guess, right? I mean, you're like, it's like that's where like the lower levels. When you have those like tiers of like people like in different jobs and or like the referee team that gets the Super Bowl. This is the equivalent of the referee that gets the Little League championship.
I have no offense to our fine listeners in Kentucky.
And our good friend Tom and Kelly. Yes, it's nothing against Kentucky. It just doesn't seem like an archaeological.
I
like. What do you to cover? Like a bourbon bottle? I don't understand. Like what are they searching for there?
Moonshine steals? I don't know.
I don't know.
My dad's actually working in Kentucky, so it's a fine state.
I actually love Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a ball when we've gone there.
Yeah, and I've got some good Kentucky bourbon downstairs as well.
I know, and I need to get over there. I missed my official Maker's Mark barrel that was waiting for me with my name out. When I found out it was not my own barrel, it was like 12 other people on it, so it's now is not even the excitement of it. But they did make me a Maker's Mark like legacy member, so I can go whenever I want and get a free tour and a free dram of bourbon. So.
All right, well, back to our movie.
Yeah, let's go back. I was trying to deflect my failure at this plot.
Who returns from an expedition to the caves of rural Kentucky after unsuccessfully trying to locate a mysterious relic that his family has sought for generations. Upon his return, John starts to see dreamlike visions of a ferocious, bird-like creature from ancient folklore. John soon learns that the cave he came into contact with on his last expedition was indeed the cave that contains the relic, and also a portal to hell, and a place of worship for the occult.
Wait, in Kentucky? This portal to hell is in Kentucky? Tom, be careful.
John discovers that the only way to stop the increasingly realistic visions is to go back to the cave with his family. Of course, because you got to bring your kids if you're going to check out a portal to hell.
Of course.
Find the relic once and for all and destroy it.
Where does William Shatner come into this?
I have no idea. I watched the trailer and I still couldn't tell you.
Damn it. Now I got to see this. Anything with William Shatner is great.
There's a lot of like skeleton-faced people in this. I don't know where they fit in either, but...
Oh, well, people who are looking for a pocket full of decomposing objective, there you go. You've got one.
Next up is our Arrow release for the week, Killer Nun from 1979, which, again, I think should be subtitled Bad Habits, but...
I know, or Second to None, one of the two.
We're going to get those made at some point, Brian.
We do. It could be filled with nonsense. We don't know.
But we're not making the movie. We're just making the subtitle. We just want.
Yes, just subtitles only.
Directed by Giulio Baruti, starring Anita Ekberg, Paola Mora, and Alida Valli. A demented nun sliding through morphine addiction into madness whilst presiding over a regime of lesbianism, torture, and death. Sister Gertrude is the head nurse/nun in a general hospital.
Wait, what kind of habit is this? Or convent, I guess. What is this?
I don't know, but it's the kind I want to be in.
Yeah, you're right. I know. Why is the movies depict nuns in that? Why are they either like making a secret pact with the devil or lesbians? Have you noticed that in these, especially at least in horror films? That's like the two ways these nuns can go.
Well, go listen to Rebecca McKendry's Nightmare University podcast. She does a whole episode on nunsploitation, and she will answer those questions for you. It's a fantastic podcast.
Yes, and she is amazing. So I might have to go listen to that one because but it is like, what was that movie? The Devils, right?
Yeah,
that was on Shudder. Yeah. That was that, or the mean nun in Silent Night, Deadly Night. They're always like every nun I've ever encountered. Not that there's been many, but. They've been nothing but pleasant and friendly. I don't understand why their movies depict them in this way. And now I gotta listen to that nunsploitation episode.
Yeah, I've never encountered an actual nun. I don't think I've ever seen a nun in real life, actually.
I've just seen them. I didn't they're walking somewhere.
But isn't that weird that I've never seen a nun in real life? You'd think at some point I would have just run across...
You've seen none?
I've seen none.
So wait, you have or you haven't? This is like Who's on First, Tim. You're confusing me. No, oh boy. This is what happens when Tim is tired, and I had a long day at work, and we've been
on travel.
It started an hour late,
and I lost my AirPods at the hotel.
Oh no!
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I left them at the hotel, and nobody turned them in, so they stole them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
they
stole
probably
them.
just threw them out because they didn't see what they were. But anyway, good news is the new versions I heard are really good.
Yeah, I'm
Longer battery
I'm gonna
life.
have to. Yeah, the battery was almost shot in one of mine anyway, so I was kind of actually looking at the upgrades. I just was kind of trying to hold off, but now I have no choice. So, but anyway,
The holidays are coming up.
yeah, they're coming. So, and also I think we should open up a store that sells nun apparel and call it None Your Business. Or None Ya Business. We'll do None Ya Business.
None ya business. There you go. I like it.
Let's see. This one has a new 2K restoration, original English and Italian soundtracks, newly translated subtitles for those. Optional, okay, a lot of subtitle extras. New audio commentary by Italian genre film connoisseurs, Adrian J. Smith and David Flint. So now we got scholars, historians, and connoisseurs.
Oh, real quick, just an idea for our nun store. I think we need to sell coffee in sizes tall, grande, and convente. So, okay. Sorry.
Beyond Convent Walls, a new video essay.
I'll see myself out.
A new video essay on nunsploitation and Killer Nun by critic Kat Ellinger. Starry Eyes, a new interview with director Giulio Barudi. Cut and Noise, a new interview with editor Mario Giacco. Our Mother of Hell, a new interview with actress Eliana Freya. Ken's going to have a field day. He was making fun of how I pronounce names when I was up there.
Oh, boy.
Original Italian and international theatrical trailers, an image gallery, and a reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Daryl Joyce. I'm laughing at Brian's, because Brian puts notes on these rundowns. And
I have to, so I remember.
And his note says, nun porn?
That's what it starts with. It's like total nun porn in the beginning. So you want to hear this, Tim? Someone has beat us to an idea which we were on the fringe of that we just never announced. There is actually a Twitter account called @nunpuns, and their tagline is, "This is an anonymous account."
I was just Googling that and it said, what do you call a nun in a wheelchair?
What?
Virgin Mobile.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And this is funny. This account, I might need to follow it because there's literally one that says, "I'm walking on nunshine." Whoa. Oh my god. This is the best thing. Okay, this is the best one ever. They have a thing. How many problems does the Pope have? And it says 99, 70%, 70%, none. 83%.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. And then someone wrote, I Vata can't even.
This one says, what do you call a sleepwalking nun? A Roman Catholic.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And then someone took literally One Direction, put the habits on top of them and wrote None Direction.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's good stuff. I'm definitely tired.
Yeah.
The trailer's weird. The trailer's worth looking at for this one, though.
Yes, you gotta watch
And
this.
there's
If
country
you're into
music
nun
playing.
porn. Yeah, it is. Why? Why? Is that not country music? What is that?
I don't know.
So if you guys want to see some nun porn accompanied by country music, this is the movie for you, apparently.
Yes. From our friends at Wellgo USA, The Lingering from 2018. Oh boy.
This actually looks cool.
This does look
This
cool.
looks super creepy and cool.
This looks cool.
This I can dig. It now is like we've gone through all the funny ones. This is like actually this one looks actually like a really cool creepy movie.
I feel
So,
like
this
I've
one-
seen good things about this, but I don't know.
See, when I first saw this, I thought, but and then I'm thinking it might be The Wailing.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
That might be the one. And we've actually been one of our listeners. I apologize. I think it might have been either David or Jonathan. One of them had said, "Have you seen The Wailing?" Or actually, maybe it was Paulo. I'm not sure now. I'm sorry because I know we've gotten a lot of emails lately. Actually, with this horror challenge, I kind of lost track of who sent me what. And it's funny. I actually own The Wailing. You know what? It was Paulo, I believe. I own The Wailing. and I still have not yet to watch it yet, and it's supposedly fantastic, and it has one of those like really amazing endings supposedly. So I think that's the one I was thinking of when I saw The Lingering. It's understandable.
Wailing, lingering.
Suffix, yeah. So maybe that's what you might be thinking too, but either way, I want to see this one.
Yeah, this one's directed... I'm not going to go try these names. It's directed by Ho Pong Mac, Derek Tao, Bob Yen Pak Chung, Kai Chung, Thina Chu. I did pretty good considering.
Actually, I think you do. You know what it is? You didn't pause.
I didn't pause.
Just went through them all.
I just committed to each one. I didn't try to.
Yeah. Oh my God! Someone wrote Carrie Underwood is my favorite country singer.
Stop, Brian. Stop.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just reading them.
A mother and her son are disturbed by the presence of a stranger as they await for the return of their father from work. This has a making, a featurette, and trailers.
One more, Tim. What do nuns wear under their clothes? Nunderwear. Oh, boy. All our new listeners probably that we've gained over the last couple of months have now left.
At least the Catholic ones for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's bad.
I
know, and I'm bad because I'm like a Jewish guy saying these jokes. At least you know.
I can just offend everybody.
Yeah, you. Oh my God, there's another one, but I maybe have to save this for another day, or at least let's space it out a little bit before I do one more. Okay.
All right. So from RLJ Entertainment, The Nunday Witch.
Now, only Tim and I are going to be hysterical laughing at that because we can see what really was written there.
Oh. The Noonday Witch, sorry.
Yes.
From 2016, directed by Jiri Sadek, Mataj Chupacabra.
Chupacabra? What? I don't...
Chlupacek.
We broke, Tim. Okay.
Oh, we broke. And Michael Samir, starring... Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Forget it. It does not get any easier. Why did this have 3 directors?
I just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Starring Anna Gislarova, Karolina Lipowska, and Zdenek Muchak.
I think it's
Zdenek.
But that's okay. But just because I think that there was a New York Ranger a hockey player that had that last name, Zdenek.
This is a story of Aliska and her daughter starting a new life in a remote house with the father away on business, as the mother claims.
Why is that in quotes?
After the lie is disclosed, that's why it's in quotes.
Oh, there you go.
Their relationship begins to wither. At that time, the mythical Noonday Witch begins to materialize. She is coming closer and closer, and the question is poised. Is the danger real, or is it all in the mother's crumbling head?
Yeah, it's actually, I gotta say, this trailer, like, it doesn't give you all, I don't think I mean, maybe because of the language it was in, I didn't get all that other stuff, but you could definitely tell it was about, apparently at, like, literally at noon, apparently this witch arrives to take
the kids.
It takes kids, yeah.
That was weird. So, it was creepy.
Yeah, it definitely had a really cool, like, not so much, I dare say it's not as, like, creepy and purity as the Witch movie, but it has that kind of like, at first has that little bit of that isolation vibe to it, but but this is another one that I kind of want to see.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this one. I'm almost positive this is on Shudder.
I agree. I think it is. There's definitely something Witch movie on Shudder now. I believe it's this. Yeah.
And then SGL Entertainment has Deviant Behavior from 2018, directed by Jacob Grimm, starring Eric Rodriguez, Tanya Monroy, and Alex Heatherly. And somehow I posted the Noonday Witch synopsis into this.
Well, let's read it again.
So, 1 second while we look up the actual.
Well, while Tim's doing that, I'll read you this. Where does an Australian nun live? Down under. You can blame Tim for that one for not being prepared. That made you all suffer through another nun joke.
All right, here we go. A slasher thriller centering around Charlie Reese, a sleazy private detective who discovers a world of murder, torture, and depravity, which kind of sounds like the plot of a Hellraiser sequel.
It does. I think this was the script that went to a Hellraiser sequel.
Yeah, this one comes with a soundtrack CD, but it's also like $32, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
And it's funny because what I got was a gritty crime thriller, not a horror film out of this. But
I mean, the mask he was wearing in the trailer was pretty cool, but
That's true. That was kind of neat. But I mean, yeah. I mean, this one is, it is what it is.
yeah.
I think it's got a great director name for this kind of a movie, Jacob Grimm.
Yeah, that's great horror director name.
Yeah.
And then finally, our pick of the week. I think this is a fantastic set. I may have to get it.
Yeah.
It is a little pricey. It's not pricey for what you're getting.
And I just bought one like a year and a half ago, a Blu-ray set of this.
But this is the good set you need. This is the Omen collection from Shout Factory Deluxe Edition. This comes with 5 Omen films: Omen 1, Damien Omen 2, The Final Conflict, which is Omen 3, Omen 4, The Awakening, and the Omen remake from 2006.
And the music video from Omen at Work. But okay, sorry, I got carried away with the nun.
With the Down Under,
puns.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, the features on this are incredible. I'm not going to read every single feature.
Oh, there's way too many.
There's way too many. You guys have to go look it up on Amazon. You'll see all the features listed. But I'm just going to tell you, there are 3 audio commentaries on just the Omen. Tons of interviews, tons of featurettes, and each one of the discs, every one of these movies has at least an audio commentary, if not 2, and tons of featurettes and interviews. So this is crazy. I think Omen 4 is the only one that does not have a commentary.
Yeah, and see, it's funny. The existing Omen box set right now on Blu-ray, the one I own, it is on sale. It's on Amazon for only $9.99 right now, but it's pretty bare bones. So I could see why this could be an upgrade. But I think what I'll do is I'll probably end up this will be on like a holiday list.
And this one's like $56, I think, right now. So put it on your Christmas list.
Retails at $80. So I mean, this is pretty. For like Amazon, I think it's $59 on Amazon. Yeah. And by the way, just one more, and this has got to be the last one. Someone posted on that site. They have a picture of 6 nuns playing basketball here, and it says "Slam Nunk." The score is 6-0.
What?
Boy,
what did we do for the internet? I don't know. Did I ever laugh for the internet?
We must have. It's just probably nobody could share it.
I guess. And theatrical releases, I had to put this one out here because I'm definitely going to take the kids. That is the Addams Family animated movie, which looks really great. I just love the Addams Family.
It does. It actually looks really good. Yeah.
I love all incarnations of the Addams Family. I love the TV show. I love the 2 movies.
Oh, me too.
And,
me too. Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to taking the kids to see this one. I'm taking the kids. That's my excuse, but I really want to see it. It's just me.
Hey, there's no shame on here. Listen, we spent 15 minutes doing the worst nun jokes and puns on the planet, and you're worried about the listeners looking at you differently for going to see this, the Addams Family?
I know. All right, so guys, let's get to our haunt recaps. Brian and I both had recent vacations to haunt and Halloween-themed theme park trips, so let's hear all about it. First up is Brian's trip to Lake Compounce Haunted Graveyard, an event I really, really want to get to at some point, but let's hear all about it.
You need to go into this next year. This haunted graveyard. I mean, I'll try and go briefly about the event in general. Try and keep this quick because I know the show is running pretty long for what Tim and I expected to be a short episode. Yeah. But this is a legendary award-winning event. This is a unique type of Halloween event too. So Lake Compounce is really a small family-owned park, and it's been around for over 100 years. I mean, and their haunted graveyard is as one of my actual favorite Halloween events to go to. I've gone, I think I've gone 4 times. I skipped a year because it was the one year I had planned to go. The date we had picked, the weather was looking bad, and Lake Compounce is one of those parks that will close if the weather's bad, and especially for the haunted graveyard because there's outside sections, and it's it's not that it's just not a park that can sustain hours of rain, and they'll close during the summer seasons on a rainy day. That's the kind of park you're talking about. But what's great is I used to go in the summer. I get the season pass, but actually now I save it to go just for the haunted graveyard, because actually you can get, if you go opening weekend, they used to have a beer fest, which they no longer have, but still opening weekend you can get a combo ticket for $31, which includes all the rides, the haunted graveyard, unlimited walkthroughs. They've added that now.
Oh my gosh!
So
wow.
So the first weekend, so you can go through it and then get right back online and go through the entire haunt again. And while that sounds like, well, big deal, you're going through a house, but when I get to the recap of that, you'll see why that's a really good deal. And so for $31 to get there, I think my goal is to go every year opening weekend if I can. Because also the weather's a little bit, still a little warm outside. We had a beautiful night. I don't know what the temperature was, but it's probably somewhere around 60-something degrees. It was great. We went with, met up with some of our good old buddies there. We went with Dan, Aunt Sue, Dan the t-shirt guy, Aunt Sue, her husband Jim. Met up with Tony and his friend Jeffrey. So we got, and of course Julie and I met them there. We camped actually at the campgrounds. We got this little cub hut cabin, which is really amazing because it was at that weekend, it was buy one night, get one free. So for $85, we got basically 2 nights in their little cabin, which was, again, it's like right on the property there. So it's like, you just like literally a 35-second drive to the front gate. So it's definitely worth that going that time of year because, and also you get a lot of great night rides, and Boulder Dash's night rides are just fantastic. I mean, like I was talking to Dan, the t-shirt guy, of course, who is someone who's ridden so many coasters and knows so many nuances about the roller coasters. So I asked him, I'm like, where do you really put this? As opposed to like, a Voyage night ride, which are legendary, and you hear the Beast night rides are legendary. And he basically said if it's running the way it should, it's right up at the top. And I think it's actually like, to me, it's actually slightly beats the Voyage for best night ride. I know that might be sacrilegious there in the coaster world, but it's so amazing because this roller coaster, and then I'll get to the haunt, of course, but obviously we have a mixed group that likes both talk of theme parks and roller coasters. So I will say that what's so amazing about this ride is you basically your first lift hill is going up into the mountain into total darkness. So you can barely make out the lift hill that you're going up, and you're just going up as it gets darker as you get up to the top. And you just kind of curve around, and it's a terrain coaster built into the mountains. And that first drop is not that tall, but it's steep enough that you pick up the most incredible speed. And you go just careening past the station and through the circuit of this track, which is literally at one point you can barely see a thing when it's at nighttime.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And especially, yeah, it is the speed. I mean, it's like, I swear to God, I always say this, but it's true. It's like at some mid-ride, this thing, it's like the ride turns, winks at you, and says you ain't seen nothing yet, and then just picks up even more speed as you're going uphill. It defies all kinds of physics. And it's just crazy. And I always like trying to ride the back seat. And there's just we got a good number of rides in. I don't know the count, but we got so many great night rides in that it was just that just adds to the event. And that's why we love going that time of year, because even during the summer, when the park is only open until 10, you barely get, it's like one of those night rides that, the fall is the best time for it because it gets dark right around 8 o'clock. And what we try and do is we get that first 7 o'clock time slot for the haunted graveyard, because you can actually, when you book it in that first 2 weeks, you can actually book your time slot. So we get that first time slot. So we're out of there by just because there's a little delay by the time you get in. So we're out of there just around 8 o'clock, which gives us about 2 hours of night rides on Boulder Dash. So, but anyway, let me get to the event real quick. So basically, the official description is the haunted graveyard gates open at dusk to take you on a terrifying 1-mile journey through darkly glittering catacombs to an eerie graveyard, to a vampire's haunt, to a witch's lair, then on to a misty lake and an ancient temple. Featured on the Travel Channel, and in your worst nightmares, come see what everyone's talking about. And yeah, it has been featured in the Travel Channel, and like I said, it gets tons of press and tons of accolades because it really is unlike any kind of haunt I've been to. And also, here's some of the things that the park actually offers during that time. It wasn't open when we were there, but it was okay because there were other stands that served alcohol. They have the Zombie Lounge, which is basically you just kick back. It's on the lake, and you basically have some food, drinks, some entertainments. I guess they have some scare actors appear out there. They try and get what's good. Lake Compounce does. They try and get the local Connecticut area beers. So they had like Rosemary's Baby from Two Roads on draft. So I had a couple of pumpkin beers.
Oh, nice.
They serve. They have the zombie bartenders at the Zombie Lounge, of course. But just the regular sections that they have tons of beer. They have some ciders. They have some mixed drinks. They have those syringe Jello shots. They serve they actually have served soup and some roasted nuts. And so there's a waffle food truck there. So they have a lot of good fall foods. One of the coolest things they had, I did not partake, but this was very tempting. It was a chocolate-covered Oreo with Reese's Pieces all around it.
Oh my gosh.
So it was and they had crazy chocolate covered apples and stuff, and most of the rides are open during that time too. So you get all 4 coasters: Boulder Dash, Wildcat, Zoomerang, and Phobia Fear Coaster, which is which you'll probably talk about when you talk about Tempesto, which is a clone at Busch Gardens. So Tim and I both basically, in our haunts, we both rode that same Skyrocket 2 model of roller coaster there. They have the Ghost Hunt your ride, which, one of those Boo Blaster type of things. They have the Flyers are open, the Wave Swinger, the Carousel, their drop tower. One of the coolest things they have, so they have an amazing little antique car ride there, which I think you and Kevin would love. It's actually not antique cars, more sports cars, but what's cool is towards the end of it, they have this sequence where you drive past a drive-in movie theater. And they actually, at nighttime, they're actually projecting movies on there.
Oh, that's
little
cool.
Movie things. And so they had they had horror movies like old school black and white Dracula movie playing during the haunt. So when you see the cars you drive by and you're actually waiting online for the haunt, you could see it playing on the quote unquote drive-in movie screen, which just makes it one of the most adorable car rides ever. It's really, really cool. So here, let me get. It's hard now. It's hard to really go through this haunt because now to describe it, it's not like other haunts where there's several houses. It's made up. I mean, there's one mini house that they added this year, which wasn't open when we were there, but the main draw is the Haunted Graveyard, which is literally a 45-minute walk-through haunt that has inside sections, outside sections.
Oh my gosh, it sounds incredible.
I mean, it has every kind of trick and effect that you can imagine, and some that I've never seen anywhere else. And what's fascinating is that they try. I mean, there's jump scares aplenty, believe me. Like Aunt Sue, I mean, by the way, she is the perfect person to go through these haunts with. If you remember from Frostbite when we were at Busch Gardens that time, Aunt Sue is the best because she gets scared at everything, and they target her to no end, and it was hilarious because I have some audio, which isn't probably good enough to play on the podcast, but Tim, I could play you some. It's just hilarious because every 2 seconds, just Aunt Sue screaming because someone has jump scared her. But the thing about the jump scares is that is not their main goal. Their goal is they try and hire actors and actresses that try and just sell the scene that they're in. They're not worried so much about jump scaring you, which they do, but that's not the main goal, which that's what makes, I think, this haunt so special, is that you could tell that these people are into it. They are into the characters that they play. They're not just standing there jumping out at you at every moment. They pull on, there are sequences, there's one sequence we walk through where this guy has got this girl tied up to a thing and he's yelling. He's like, push this button, push the button. And then he was yelling at me, so I pushed the button, and then he pulls this lever and it electrocutes the girl and she screams bloody murder, and Julie goes, you just committed murder. But and they totally interact with you. They'll they'll talk to you, and if you give them a smart answer, they'll just come right back at you with something else, which is great. And so just to go over it, but it's impossible to kind of replicate every section, I mean, because there's so many in there, but there's a couple that just stand out. So the queue area is massive because this is on Lake Compounce property, but from what I understand, it's not owned by Lake Compounce. So it's outside it's at the edge of the park. So it's semi-permanent structure that stays there. So it's not like they got to take it down and put it up every year. So it's like high quality stuff. Like you go into this, I need to share some pictures that I got because you walk in this giant like church building is the first thing, and it's massive. It looks like it was built to stay, and it's there every year. And even the queue area looks like semi-permanent, like almost looks like those haunt attractions that you see in the movies that you're like, well, they don't have those because that's too permanent structure, like, but that's what it looks like. And there's, so you go in there and they actually paced us really good. So it was our group and like 2 other people. So it was like a really good spacing of people. So we felt like we were the only group in there at the time. Like you weren't running into other groups. So they do a really good job of that. But some of the cool thing is there's the opening sequence in the church. And I remember there was like dead people like skeletons lined in the pew. They were all like dead and stuff. And they had this one section where you're just walking outside through this graveyard, and the path like winds through the graveyard, and it's lit with this blue glow, so you can make out all the headstones, and people are, but like it kind of somehow blocks where the people are going, so you can't tell who's a guest walking through and who's a scare actor. So it's kind of creepy. It's just wandering people through it, and it's like, so they'll sneak up on you, and like some people are like laying on the ground, and then they kind of like, kind of pop up at you or just don't move, which is even worse because then you're expecting it to move, and then you blindsided with someone else that comes on the other side. So it's just really well placed stuff. And there was one section that was where you walk through, and it was all these multicolored lit pumpkin faces that almost rivaled it. It may have rivaled it. That scare zone at Halloween Horror Nights that we went to. Remember with the what was it? The Harvest.
Oh yeah.
It's like that, but all the pumpkins are different colors, like blues and greens and yellows. So and it looks like they're just floating because you can't see where they are. It's just very disorienting. There was a section that was like some sort of like a hillbilly slaughterhouse, and with like chainsaws, and there was an amazing corn maze where the people, it's the typical type of corn maze, but but it's really tight, and these like people are like literally like reaching out through the corn structure. They're not just standing there, so you really can't see where they're standing. So they could get some really good startles there because you can't really tell where they are.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of dungeon sections. There's this haunted forest where they have Ernie, the pet demon dog, that's like sitting there. There's this weird swamp section, an Aztec section. The swamp section is kind of like that one house at Dorney, but just done even better.
Yeah, that was a cool house though.
Yeah, so picture like a sequence like that, but like with literally water. Like there's some water that you're walking over in a bridge that's like squishy, and you step down on it. They have some standard funhouse effects. Like there's this one of those things where you're walking and the room is rotating around you, so it feels like your whole thing is you're tipping over. Like you can't like keep your balance. And they have 2 rooms of those in a row. So as soon as you get to one, you turn into the other one, and it's even more disorienting. So it's like you really have to hold on to the thing. And there's a vampire room, and there's a bat room. And it was kind of funny because Aunt Sue interacted with them because remember Aunt Sue's bat story where so she goes, "Don't scare me, I'm one of you." But and one of the coolest sequences, and this is there every year. And I think I described this last year. It's this weird room that you walk into, and it slopes downward, and there's this green laser and fog. So you literally walk down through this laser, and you can't see where you're going. But you can, like, if you raise your hand up, you can, like, kind of see it, but it looks like people just dissolve into the room. And it's probably the simplest effect, but it's so amazing to see. And I have a cool picture of that actually came out that I gotta post. There was a cool guillotine prop where some guy's head literally gets chopped off and like looks like it rolls into the basket.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a one section where there's like hands come through the wall, kind of like, remember like Freddy's head did in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, how it reached through the wall. Well, picture that, but with all hands like pushing the wall and like reaching through. It's just so amazing. And there was one sequence I've seen tons of haunts and tons of effects how this worked. There was this woman, it must have just been that they lit the room well enough. She was somehow almost looked like she was part of the wall, but also upside down, and she was reaching for us. But you couldn't see where she was coming from. I don't know if I'm describing that right. It was just she was looks like she was contorted into the wall. And upside down and reaching for us, and it looked really creepy. And I don't really get creeped out much in these things, but I was like, I think even on the audio you hear, I'm like, how is she even doing that? It doesn't make sense. It's like she was literally looks like she was hung from the center of the wall. It was weird. I don't know how they did it, but just overall, it's just such a fantastic event. It's like, Dan and Sue, and Tony, they had never been before to that thing. They were like, oh my God, this was amazing. And in the park, which is decorates to somewhat, they also have another whole graveyard you can literally walk through that's set up, and they light just light everything up all creepy and stuff. So overall, I mean, it's just one of the best Halloween events you could go to. It really is, and especially for the price point. I mean, Tim, you and Kevin need to come to this next year. You really do, because I mean, not just for the rides, but you need to go see this haunt because you will be blown away. It is unlike any kind of haunt out there.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna. I'm just putting it on the calendar for next year for sure.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. You will not be disappointed. You will just be blown away. Like everyone who see it for the first time gets blown away. And I've gone 4 times, and majority of the rooms are the same. I think they tweak the actors and the little scripts a little bit, but still, I could walk through. The only reason we didn't walk through again, and I wanted to, is because we wanted to get our Boulder Dash night rides. But other than that, literally, this thing is you could walk through it over and over again, and I feel like it gets better every year. That's how good it is, even though it's essentially the same walkthrough. It's just that's good. There's nothing like it. If you were in this area, in the tri-state area, you must get yourself down to Lake Compounce to try this event one year.
Nice. Well, I went up to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg for Howl-o-Scream, which I went to, that was a couple years ago, Brian? That we went for the Coast Radio meeting.
You got a raw deal though that time.
Yeah, I got a raw deal because it literally rained the entire time we were there, and most of the haunts were half staffed and all this stuff. But I will have to say, man, this year we could not have asked for better weather. It was crystal clear. There was a nice big partially full moon out. Perfect weather. It was actually a little warmer than I expected. It was supposed to drop to 60, but I don't think it ever went down that low. Yeah, it was still a little bit warm, but it was comfortable. It wasn't hot. So it still had that kind of Halloween feel. And we decided this trip, I went up there to see a friend of the show, Ken, who you've heard we talk about before. He happened to be up that way, about an hour away from Busch Gardens, so he invited me up for the weekend, and we decided to just prince it up, as they say. We did full quick queue, we did meal plan, we did unlimited haunts, everything. So we were definitely VIPs up there. And of course, started out the day riding roller coasters. Ken had not been on most of these, so he was really excited to try some of these out because his family's not really into the whole thrill ride thing. So it was his chance to get to ride some of this stuff for the first time. And we had a ball riding Griffin and Apollo's Chariot. We got 3 walk-on rides on Invader early in the morning. That's the first thing we headed to. And
that's a great ride.
Yeah, that's a fun family coaster. I will have to say the lines were really decent early in the day. Of course, as the day went on, they got longer and longer because it got pretty packed as the haunt stuff approached. But with the quick queue, we were jumping right on. So I believe we got 20 rides in through all 6 coasters. I think we got about 20 rides in, which is pretty darn good. And we were taking our time. I mean, we weren't rushing from ride to ride. We were just kind of going wherever. We clocked in 15 miles of walking. No lie, 15 miles of walking. So had a blast. But of course, when the sun set, it was time for haunt. And this time I got to experience some of the scare zones, Brian, that I did not get to experience last time because of the rain. And that was pretty fun. Now, I will have to say, we didn't spend a lot of time walking through the scare zones because typically we were trying to get all of the haunts in, but we also wanted to get night rides in on all the coasters because they were all open.
Did you get to go on the bridge, though, at night? You know that one bridge that goes like by the Loch Ness Monster that crosses?
I don't think we did. Or if we did, I don't think we saw many scare actors on it.
Okay, because usually they fog it up and they put scare actors on there, so you're literally walking across and they're jumping out, like they're kind of like getting right near you. But that's what they did that one time when I was there. And they obviously didn't do it the time we were there because of the rain. So I was wondering if they brought that back.
Yeah, I don't think that we ever crossed that particular bridge at that time, so I don't know. But I will say, speaking of the fog, I think that's the one thing that Busch Gardens does really, really well is the atmosphere, because it's such a beautiful park anyway, but then they just have an excellent use of fog machines. And they put fog in all these great places, and then they use this really cool lighting. So there's a fantastic Halloween atmosphere to the whole park when the sun sets. And I really, really enjoyed that. We did all 6 haunts. Now, I will say this. If you are the person that goes to Howl-o-Scream every year, I could see where you might be disappointed this year, because it was the exact same house lineup, except with one less house as last year.
Oh, they took one away?
They took one away. So I could see if you'd be kind of bitter about that if you went back this year.
Did they say why they took it away? Was it because of the new coaster construction, maybe, or something?
Possibly. I don't know. The one they took away was that cornstalk one.
Oh, yeah, but that's it. Everyone.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why.
I don't know. So they only had 6 houses this year, and I have to say I was slightly disappointed because I believe I had already seen at least 2 or 3 of these houses. So I had already seen them when I went, even when I went.
Yeah.
Which, okay, it's okay. I mean, I know this is a regional park. They don't have the money to do new haunts every year like Halloween Horror Nights or anything.
Right.
But at the same time, I was kind of hoping for something a little more different than what we got. So Howl-o-Scream, I'm thinking, was probably a little down this year than it was last year from what I've read. And I'm hoping that they'll put some money into doing some newer haunts next year, or otherwise I don't see a reason to go back every single year if they're just going to have the same houses over and over. But here's a review of some of the houses. So, caveat, me and Ken are the only ones there. We don't have any girls with us. So we're kind of like 2 bros walking through these houses. They're not going to jump at us a whole lot. So we weren't getting the full haunt experience as you would if you're maybe with a different mixed group of, had some girls with you and stuff.
You need Aunt Sue with you, I'm telling you. Aunt Sue makes the difference. They all go after Aunt Sue.
And the scare actors know. I mean, they know who's going to jump, and they know who's going to scream, and that's the ones they're going to target. They're typically not going to target, dudes, because they don't want to get punched in the face if they do scare them, and B, they know it's kind of a waste of energy. So, be that as it may, I didn't get jump scared a lot. There were a couple that got me good, but it was still fun going through the haunts. The first one up was, and I went through these in my rough order of how much from like worst to best, I guess. I'll start with the least. So down at the bottom, I would have to put Dystopia. This was the first house we went into, and so it was a little bit daylight still. And that may have taken away from it. We had planned to go back through it again later on that night, but we never got around to it. And this is your typical post-apocalyptic house with, people in gas masks and people banging on stuff and chain link fences and that kind of thing. The one cool thing I will say about this house is there's a point where they split, and you don't realize how they're splitting people. So they're sending some groups of people down one path and some down the other. So at one point...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They have that.
So at one point, we actually merged in with another group that was coming from another direction. And everybody was kind of like, what? Where'd y'all come from? Where'd you come from? kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of funny. But other than that, it was your typical standard post-apocalyptic, disease, radiation, blah, 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 kind of haunted house. Next up, we had, this is where they all kind of blur together, because there was 2 houses that me and Ken agreed we both really, really enjoyed, and then everything else was kind of like in that middle tier. Frostbite, of course, is in the old Return to Dark Castle. Is that what it's called? Return to Dark Castle?
Yeah.
Curse of Dark Castle. That's in that old show building. I think the criticism of this haunt, I would say, is it's in a big building, so there is some like dead space in this one. I think there was even when we went, Brian.
Yeah, they still have not filled it yet, from what I hear.
Yeah, but I did like the theme of this one because it's, it's like dragons and ice demons and stuff. And they had some really well made up scare actors in this one that I thought were really cool. And I like the idea that you're just kind of walking through an old dark ride, which is kind of neat. Now, granted, they've ripped out all the tracks and stuff now, so you don't get the full experience that we got when we were there when that stuff had just been closed down. But but it's still kind of cool to be walking through an old abandoned ride building. Next up, there were two that at first I thought were just kind of a mismatched theme. I didn't understand the theme because every room was kind of different. And I went back and read some reviews of last year because they were here last year, and it kind of made a little more sense to me what they were going for, and that kind of made me appreciate them a little more. First up was Demented Dimensions. This was a haunt themed at unspeakable terrors awaiting at Sterling Manor, and this one was kind of one of those houses that every room was kind of a different theme. There was like an Alice in Wonderland theme at one point, and there was a really cool sequence that I actually really enjoyed. Was there was a part where you go through like this library, and there was this scare actor that had basically his whole costume was made out of like newsprint, so he blended into the wall. I thought that was really, really neat.
That's cool.
And they had, but other than that, it was a kind of a mismatch of themes, and I think both Ken and I just didn't quite get what they were going for. But I will have to say I actually enjoyed all the set pieces and stuff in it. So in that respect, it delivered. The next one up that kind of fell in that same category, but that I actually really enjoyed, was Vault Overtaken. Now, the theme of this one is they took past Howl-o-Scream characters and put them in a haunt. And when you start off in this haunt, you're basically in a morgue or a mausoleum. And each drawer of the mausoleum has a name of an old Howl-o-Scream haunt on it. And that was cool. Neat. I actually like that. I didn't quite get the fact that they were returning characters because I've only been to Howl-o-Scream twice. So I wasn't aware that these were characters from past events. But I think if I had known, if I was a regular, I think I would have enjoyed this house even more. But again,
I think Universal did something like that once for the Halloween Horror Nights. They brought some characters back.
Yeah. But I actually really liked this one. It had a lot of neat scenes. This is the one that really got me at one point, because there was this girl like in this weird like bird mask thing, and she's like writing or looking at this book in the middle of the room. It's just her in this middle of the room, and like I had like 10 people walk in front of me, walk right past this girl, and all she's doing is like tracing her fingers over the book. Well, I happened to be the last one in line, and there was a gap behind me. So I just walked right past her, and she just turns to me and screams. And I jumped, and then as I was walking, I turned back, and she was looking back at me like, aha, I got you. And I was like, kind of just gave her like a thumbs up, like, yeah, okay, you got me. that one was pretty funny. Next up was, Demented Dimensions. I don't know if I mentioned the name for that one for Sterling Manor. And this one was called Vault Overtaken. Then we come to the two that I really liked, and they're the same ones I really liked last time, Brian. The first one was Lumber Hack. That was the one that was outdoors. Yeah. It was so much fun to do this one actually without the rain this time, because you got to see more scare actors. For you guys that don't know, Lumber Hack, they took it way in the back of the park, but you basically go through an outdoor haunt because it winds through some trees and you're walking on actual dirt, and you're getting, like hillbilly type chainsaw people and that kind of thing. But I just like the fact that you're kind of roaming into the woods a little bit. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, and I remember the ending was really cool. Remember, because you weren't sure, you could kind of go any way you wanted a little
right,
bit,
yeah, the paths are really wide, so you can kind of spread out, and you're not really like in a conga line. So you kind of had this real twisty, kind of open area that you could go through that kind of made it a little even scarier. And Ken really liked this one as well. And then our favorite, I think both our favorite, was the Circus Sinistro, which I think was our favorite last time, Brian. And it was very similar. They had the little pre-show when you went in the circus tent. But yeah, this one's neat because you keep walking through a series of tents, and every tent is a different theme. So you never really kind of know what you're going to get. But one sequence I really enjoyed is you go through this tent, and it's like you see these creepy pictures of clowns on the wall. And then you round a corner and there's this weird, creepy clown thing sitting in a chair. And you kind of go past it. And then you walk out and you go along a little path and you go into another tent. And they basically repeated the exact same house. So you see the same creepy things on the wall. But this time, when you round the corner, you see the same creepy thing in the chair. And then you round another corner and you see another one. So it's almost like you almost like, wait, did I turn around and go through the same room again? But then you realize it's like escalating. So as you keep going through, there's more and more of these creepy clowns as you keep walking through. It was kind of a neat.
That's really.
That was
cool.
kind of a neat gimmick. So and then there was one point where I thought we were out of the haunt because I thought we had gone through the last room, and so we were walking out, and it looks like a regular exit. And one of the guys on the bungee things jumps down at you right at the end, and then you keep going, and you're actually still in the haunt. There's another tent ahead of you, but it looks like you're about to exit out into the park. I thought that was kind of neat.
They do a good job with the bungee people at Busch Gardens, I remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think if you have not been to Howl-o-Scream at all, or if you haven't been in several years, you would have a blast. Judging from the repeat of the houses, I think if you're a regular going back every year, there's not much new to see here this year. And it's tough to judge these things after Halloween Horror Nights because the regional parks are not the same level in terms of haunt and scares as obviously Universal, but you can't really fault them for that. I still had a great time, and I will have to say, the meal plan at Busch Gardens, if you get the all-day meal plan, go to that, what is that, smokehouse place?
Oh, yeah, that place
Oh, my
is
God,
great.
they serve,
Yeah.
I mean, me and Ken split a meal plan, actually, and, like, you can get, on your meal plan, get, like, a $19 brisket plate every 90 minutes if you wanted to. I mean, it is awesome. So I would highly recommend.
I think that's a Mike Collins favorite, that place.
Yeah.
I think he told me the first time I had gone there and I hadn't been there in a while, I reached out and asked him because, he knows that park. And I'm like, which to play? He goes, you got to go to the smokehouse.
Yeah.
dude."
And it's really good ribs and stuff. And I mean, bang for your buck. If you want to get the most out of your meal plan, go hit that place. Oh my gosh. It was great. But yeah. We made definite use of the meal plan. We were hitting it every 90 minutes and we never starved on that trip, and it was great.
Well, Busch Gardens just in general, you know what I think their advantages? I think every type of haunt has its advantages, and I think Busch Gardens is that the park itself is so amazing, and it's kind of it's kind of consuming as it is because there's a lot of paths where you don't see other parts of the park. There's that one section where you can see a lot of stuff, but mostly if you go around this perimeter of the park, you end up it's kind of a confusing park, and at night it's even harder.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's why we walked 15 miles because we didn't know where the heck we were going half the time, which is okay. I mean, we could have planned it out a little better, but we both agreed that it was kind of fun just kind of roaming around and saying, "Hey, let's go here," and we'd find our way there, and "Hey, let's go here," and we just find our way there.
Yeah, no, Busch Gardens is a really unusual but unique park that it's there's something special about it, and I've always liked it, and it's not just also you have that amazing cool beer hall where they have that little tiny beer room and the little beer hall. It's really just I love that park. And so what did Ken think of Verbolten? Did you get him some night
Oh
rides
man,
on
yeah.
that?
So we did get one night ride on Verbolten, but I didn't tell him anything about it. And I won't say anything for our listeners who haven't been, but there's a big surprise on that roller coaster. And I didn't tell him anything about it. It really surprised him, but he absolutely loved that one. And I will say I didn't mention in the big Fest House, which is the big dining hall they did have a show going on that was running constantly throughout the day and night that we saw most of when we were in there, and that was their big Night Beats revamped show. And that was pretty good. I mean, it's your typical, singers and dancers, and they're doing songs from the 70s and 80s and 90s and kind of different medleys of hits, but it was with a vampire theme and zombie theme and stuff. It was actually pretty entertaining while we were eating, so shout out to that as well. And I also want to give a shout out to one of the ride ops for Apollo's Chariot, who was really, really good. He was one of those real interactive ones, but whenever he was announcing which row the Quick Queue people could ride, he would go, "Quick Queue!" And it would crack me up. It'd crack me up every time. So shout out to the Quick Queue guy.
What was Ken's favorite ride there? Since he hadn't been there probably in a while. Right?
His favorite actually was Alpengeist.
Really?
He loved
Okay,
he
that's
loved
interesting.
Alpengeist, but he also loved Griffin after I finally persuaded him to get on it.
Oh, I love Griffin.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to pick my favorite there because all their coasters are pretty good. But it's like I think I don't know, something about I think Griffin and Verbolten, they're top of my list. Even though I think Apollo's Chariot is amazing.
Yeah, I had a new
But-
appreciation for Apollo's Chariot this time because I got to ride it a lot more than I did the earlier time. Actually, I found a new appreciation for all those rides because I think the last time I went, I had only ridden Alpengeist once at night and didn't really remember much about it. And this time,
Yeah, you and I rode it. I think Kevin might have skipped it,
Yeah.
didn't he? Because I think just you and I went on.
and I rode it like 6 times
Yeah,
this time. So
Yeah. Yeah, if you get to the front, you lose that head rattle. That is very disorienting ride at night.
yeah,
though.
it is.
Especially when that fog is floating around, and then there's that one like weird like inversion that looks like you're just going straight up, and then you kind of
Yeah, there's like jerks you to the
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
it's really
Now,
cool. That's just
The one thing I will
great
say,
park.
the one downside to Quick Queue at Busch Gardens is they have reserved Quick Queue rows. So, like,
So you can't
yeah,
pick.
so like Griffin, we never could get a front row ride on Griffin because Quick Queue is only rows 2 and 3. So you can never get a front row ride unless you want to sit in line for 2 hours, which we didn't want to do. And same thing for like Loch Ness Monster. It was either rows, I think it was just row 2. Apollo's Chariot was a little better because they would give you rows 2 or 8. So you could get a back ride or a front ride. But that's the only downside I will say for you guys that want to do Quick Queue at Busch Gardens. You have to settle for what rows they're going to give you. So if you're looking for one of those people that want to get a front row ride or a back seat ride like a Coaster Boy would, you're kind of screwed there unless you want to wait in line.
I don't remember having that issue when we were there the last time though. I thought we got to kind of, or was it just not as crowded? Oh, it was a Friday night.
Yeah,
maybe it was less.
I'm thinking they
You were
probably
there with
adjust it depending on crowds. I mean, we were there
And the rain.
we were there for it was a pretty big crowd while we were there. So
Yeah. I love Loch Ness at night too, especially when there's a lot of like darkness and fog in there. It's like you just can't see where you don't really. You're very disorienting on that. And I remember Julie and I got a Zen ride at night on that once. Oh,
Yeah.
So it's such a great coaster. I
but
love
great
that one.
park, had a blast, had just a wonderful time. So if you guys want a fantastic theme park and a pretty decent haunt at night, check out Howl-o-Scream at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Lots of fun.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to our beer pairing for this episode, Brian. This is kind of a general, wide open beer pairing, so let's see what you came up with.
Yeah, so and it's one I just had actually this Saturday when we met up. We met up with Cone, his wife Nicole, and our good friend Cara, who's actually not too far from you. She's down in Charlotte. She was in for Comic-Con, so I met up with them. We met up with them for dinner and just kind of catch up and swap goodies. I had some stuff for Steve. He had some stuff for Tim and I. And so I tried there at this point. We went to the District Tap House, and they had by Cigar City, which is a brewery out of Tampa, which I found everything I've had from them I've enjoyed immensely. So they're a really good brewery. They have Good Gourd Imperial Pumpkin Ale, which I believe I've had before in a bottle, but they had it on draft there, and it was really good. It's just another just high quality pumpkin beer. And so it's 8.8%, so it's pretty strong for a pumpkin ale. And the description is a liquid monument to the glory of the pumpkin, the most noble of all the gourds. This imperial pumpkin ale is brewed with cinnamon, allspice, cloves, nutmeg, and vanilla to emulate the flavors of a decadent, piquant pumpkin pie. I guess the person who wrote this is another person who likes movie pies.
Right.
But and it said the gourd is good indeed. So I agree. It was a very good one. So see if we can get your hands on that one, Tim.
Very nice.
You should be able to get that. I mean, Tampa, that's not.
Yeah.
I mean, you're. So.
All right, so last week's triple threat, we were looking for an actor or actress. Clue number 1, my first acting role was on a TV show, and I hope everyone remembers it. We were looking for Kelly Maroney. Kelly was on the soap opera Ryan's Hope for her first professional acting role. Clue number 2, I once had a German rock band write a song about me. And yes, indeed, in 2006, a German rock band, Almost Charlie, recorded a song, Kelly Maroney Don't Exist No More, about her legal name change to Zoe Kelly Simon and brief attempt to leave the entertainment industry. Today, Kelly Maroney definitely exists once more.
And thank God, because she's awesome, and she was in that the In Search of Darkness documentary, and she's very interactive on social media, and she's really cool, and she's in some classic horror movies.
Clue number 3, although I have spread cheer in a number of my film roles, I don't really care for artificial intelligence or astronomical events. Well, we were making reference to her turn as a cheerleader in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Night of the Comet. And in Night of the Comet, she had to deal with being a survivor of a comet which wiped out the majority of the Earth's population. And in Chopping Mall, she had to deal with some out-of-control robotic mall security robots. Yes. Or robots, as the dad from Goldberg should say.
Yes, if you're Jeff Garlin, you call it robots.
This week, we're looking for another actor or actress. So listen carefully. Clue number 1. While I'm known mostly from performing in tons of films and TV shows, I am an avid gourmet chef and authored a number of cookbooks. Clue number 2. I was born the same month and day as another iconic horror legend. And clue number 3. I have played a lesser known but very memorable Batman villain. Who am I?
I think this is totally gettable.
Oh, it's definitely
gettable.
gettable.
I kind of think I think this is one of the easier ones. I figured Kelly Maroney might have been, because I intentionally tried to be very tricky with that one, so I figured I felt guilty, so I gave an easier one this one. So everyone should be able to get this one.
All right, so let's do our Zubmondo for this week, Brian.
Okay, and I am flipping.
And stop.
Okay, so neither one of these is horror related. Do I try it again?
No, we keep going, even if it's not horror, because we never know where the winds will take us.
Okay, so let's see. Well, I don't know. This one is too close to home. I'm gonna go with this one. This one will be kind of funny. I think this will be an interesting one for us, and it'll probably embarrass us both. So I will choose this one. It says, would you rather, Tim, be thought of as a bumbling, incompetent fool by everyone you work with?
You mean I'm not already?
Yeah, I know, right? Same here, right? Or as sexually inadequate by everyone you slept with.
I think that one's easy for me, actually. I'd rather be known as sexually inadequate with everyone I've slept with, because that's not a lot of people. Right. So I can handle that.
And you know what? In the end, I'd have to go with the second one too, just because who the hell cares? Because, I mean, in the end, we've managed to do something right. We're both happily married, so
as long as I can stay happily married after she realizes that fact, then I'm good with that. Because
that's where I'm going with that. Basically, see the other one. Like, you know, if we're thought of as bumbling, incompetent fool of people at work, that could seriously hamper you from, like, you know, because, plus you're at work nowadays. Most people work, they're more at work than they are at home. And so, you know, if you're constantly being thought of as, like, incompetent, like, even when you come up with a good idea, they won't look at it right. You can't advance because if you're rumored, and you know how things work, you know, sometimes rumors are just, sometimes they're not at work, and then they end up getting you a bad rap. Do you really, like, how you getting out of that? You know, it's like, because the people don't know you that well, as I guess, you know, former sexual partners, and you know, most of them are, you know, you've known them at some level. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some one night stands in there, but you know, most of them will know you at a non-working level. So it's like those people can kind of, like, you know, I guess, you know, does it really matter with that?
Exactly. But like, who cares?
So So, and actually, so there's another, as usual, this book adds a little fact. So it says, official winner of the Bad Sex Award. It says, now, yes, he rises, turns her over, flips her white body, her small white body. She is so small and so compact, and yet she has all the necessary features. Shall I compare thee to a Sony Walkman? Thou art more compact. She is his own Toshiba, his dinky little JVC, his sweet Iowa. Iowa, she says as she enters her. Iowa, 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 from the novel Kissing England by Sean Thomas. What the hell is that?
Oh my God.
I don't even understand that.
I don't understand.
I assume it's a thing about a tape recorder or a VCR, I guess, or something, but not sure what idea what that was supposed to be.
Oh, by the way, Brian, this is a completely extra, but our local news has been posting shots of them filming Halloween Kills downtown.
Yeah.
So they've gotten some like on-set photos of Jamie Lee Curtis looking bedraggled with bloody hands.
Bedraggled.
Yeah, and I guess that's a word. She looks bedraggled. And they've got the big Haddonfield Memorial Hospital sign up on one of the buildings downtown.
Yeah, I just saw that earlier, and so they're doing a lot of casting calls there. They're looking for like kids who are trick or treaters this week. So I don't know why your kids are not lined up there.
I know.
And there's like they're looking for other people. The week after that we're there too. But I have a theory. I don't know. Should we? I can give you my theory because this is just what I'm basing it on. This could be totally. I could be way off. So one of the casting calls on the list, I saw the list of people they're looking for. One of them is townspeople. So, regular townspeople, but they said, but like forming like a mob. So here's my theory. I think they're going to, everyone's assuming that, Haddonfield Memorial Hospital is going to have one of the Strode women at that hospital. I think Michael is brought there and he's there, and the mob is there to, like, saying, what are you keeping this guy alive? He just killed everyone. We need to get him. And that's the mob sequence there. And I think it's more going to be a reversal like they have been doing with like they did with the 2018 version, where they kept playing, tricks like how Laurie appeared out the thing, and Laurie disappeared when he looked out the window. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be they're going to be hunting Michael in that hospital.
Oh, that's a good plan. And it does make sense that after the ending of the first one, he would be at the hospital.
Right.
Maybe he got burned or something.
Right. And the mob people are probably going to be like, why are you even caring? Why are they doing that? Why are you trying to cure, nurse him back to health, whatever the reason is. Like, and I think that's what it's going to be. So I think it's going to be them maybe hunting him.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
In that hospital.
And when you guys see the movie, when you see the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, that is actually our community college.
I was going to say they didn't use the real hospital.
No,
I assume,
and they needed it to look run down. Like our hospital doesn't look run down. This looks like a old hospital because it's actually a different old building. It's our community college.
It looks a little different from the one in part 2 from the picture that I saw.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, it's years later, so
yeah, because it is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
I mean, I think it'll be. I cannot wait for these. I'm hoping when we're there, maybe who knows who we'll run into that weekend when we're there. I mean,
walking around downtown, sometimes you'll see celebrities that are down there. We might actually see them filming. I will say I am going to look into next week extras when they're needed. I'm going to definitely look for that.
Yeah, because they said 1,000. It was like, oh no, not 1,000, but like hundreds of extras. I think it said. Like I looked at the list, and it was like they were looking for like 50 people here and like 100 people in this sequence. Because I guess there's a sequence in a park that they're looking for people. In the mob group at the hospital, they're looking for people who'll dress as orderlies in the hospital. So I have a feeling Michael will still do some kind of killing spree in this hospital.
Hey, here's some exclusive stuff for you guys. So they're looking for people to film a 1978 flashback scene. So they're looking for people with 1970 style hair. Police officers, neighbors, trick-or-treaters, EMTs, cops.
This is going to be
this sounds really cool. And then that was for
2 movies.
They got people that are needed for 3 filming dates, which I won't be able to make that one. I'm gonna keep an eye on this. There's a page here where you can see like what extras they need for which scenes. So if I can get where I fit one of them, I'm gonna try to get in on it.
I think this week they were the ones that were looking for the kids trick or treating, and your kids were right in the age range, I think, too.
Yeah,
you might want to look into that, see if you can get them in there. How awesome would that be? If you got your kids in that movie, like it's just trick or treat.
I just want to get in on it at some level. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we like somehow run into Jamie Lee Curtis in Wilmington or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the weekend, so I could see, like, maybe maybe they fly back out of there, because I don't think they probably film over the weekend, from what it sounds like. The dates are, like, kind of like during the week, and then
Yeah.
they take a break, and then it starts up again Monday again. But I mean, you never know. I mean, they may just be there. Like, I mean, maybe everyone can't fly back and forth, so they just hang out there for the weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it though. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you back here next week.
Yes, and we actually know the movie. We could tell you.
That's
We're
right.
gonna do Ma.
Yeah, we're gonna do Ma, not Mama, but just Ma.
Not Mama, just Ma.
So,
And it's not the mistake we make that Amanda says, which goes Ma. It's Ma.
So so guys, go out and hit a haunt or two this weekend.
We gave you two great options, so pick one.
Yeah, and write in and tell us about it. We'll or send us a trip report or something like record into your phone some audio from your haunt and send it in. We'll play it on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. We'll see you here next week. Later.
And we'll have none of that.
Bye.